It's crazy how Republicans will make the connection between Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein, or any Democrat for that instance. But when it comes to Trump, even with thousands of pictures and videos, it seems like they can't grasp the concept that, yeah, Trump is connected to Jeffrey Epstein. And we might finally know why Trump wanted Jeffrey Epstein dead. Go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we're going to get into this exclusive that Midas Touch has. What's up, everybody? It's your boy AT2 here. And now I happened to stumble across this because I've been looking into the whole Jeffrey Epstein Trump connection. Because here's the thing, the government is not going to tell us the truth. We have to do our own research to find out what the truth is, because obviously they have something to hide, aka Trump has something to hide. But let's go ahead and get into this video. So let me set it up for you. Michael Wolff was the author of that Fire and Fury book. Also, he had Siege, the Trump administration. He wrote tons of books about the Trump administration when he was there for about 6 months. Mind you, he still has connections into the White House. But in this particular video, he says that there's some incriminating evidence against Donald Trump. And this probably led to the reason why Donald Trump wanted Jeffrey Epstein dead. Let's not forget, Jeffrey Epstein died while he was under investigation with the feds, but that was under the Trump administration, not the Biden, not the Obama. It was underneath the Trump administration. So let's go ahead and get into this video, you guys.
I had a conversation yesterday with someone who speaks to Trump often, and this person had spoken to Trump in the last 48 hours. Now, a really good way to understand what's on Trump's mind is to track the conversations that he has with this set of people who he calls often. I think my feeling has always been that that Trump needs to think out loud, and calling this list of people who he appears to trust, even though they might call me afterwards, is a way really to follow exactly what is on Trump's mind. In this conversation that he had within the last several days, he said to this person, "People say I had Epstein killed. I didn't have Epstein killed," Trump said. And then this person said, "Well, do you think that he was killed?" And Trump replied, "A lot of people wanted him dead." I find this, to be honestly,
notice that didn't really answer the question. A lot of people wanted him dead. So with that being said, you basically don't believe what your intelligence is telling you. They're saying that he hung himself, right? He committed suicide. However, what we're getting from you is that you probably don't really believe that either. And you're saying, oh, a lot of people wanted him dead. Trust me, there's more to this, you guys. Just hold on.
Chilling conversation, which I've been thinking about. The idea that the president of the United States would have to say and go out of his way to say that he hadn't had someone killed seems chillingly to imply that he could have had someone killed. And there's a way that Trump has often spoken about his belief that assassinations, both domestic and foreign, have been freely carried out.
And by the way, what that says is U.S. strike in Iraq kills Qasem Soleimani. Soleimani, I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry, commander of Iran. Remember, this was under his first administration. He had that assassination done, so he's just kind of showing you, like, yeah, if he wants something done, he can get it done. All right, let's continue.
By the United States government. And then the idea that there are a whole population of people who wanted Epstein dead. And Trump seems to rather include himself in this. And again, it's that sense on the part of Trump that he believed Epstein knew too much. And certainly in the case of Trump, Epstein could fill in a whole part of the Trump background. Those early days, Trump's early days in the real estate business, in New York. And the real estate business in New York is filled with, as a matter of fact, I don't know how you can be in the real estate business without having direct connections to organized crime. Certainly that was one of the things that
And remember, we talked about how he had also had a connection to John Casablancas, which had a modeling agency, and they would have this model competition. Then Trump has the pageants, and these were all young girls. And then come to find out that some of these girls were being assaulted. Trump is connected to all of this. Like, he was literally the head of it, whether he was supplying the girls or not. He knew something was going on.
Epstein talked about. There are years in which the two of these guys were pursuing models, doing whatever they could to get these women. This period in Trump's life when there have been accusations after accusations by a whole lineup of women. And then this was the period in Trump's life of his bankruptcies. And Epstein had an interesting view on this
Closely.
because Trump was forgiven personal loans that he had guaranteed personally of about $1 billion. Now, when you're forgiven personal loans, that immediately becomes income. And Epstein would talk about his involvement with Trump in hiding this money from the IRS. What did Epstein know about Trump? That's a foundational question here.
And mind you, a little backstory: Michael Wolff is the one who linked up with Jeffrey Epstein in 2014 because he wanted to write a book. So he has over 100 hours of recordings when he's interviewing Jeffrey Epstein that he has not released. Michael, if you want to do right by the people, the American people, and just the world, release them goddamn tapes. I'm just saying.
And I spent a lot of time thinking about the ways in which Epstein was a clear threat to Trump, and especially after he became the president of the United States. But I think it's also important to think about what kind of threat Trump was to Epstein. I know at one point when Epstein would show me these pictures of Trump, again, I've described these before, but a set of about a dozen Polaroid pictures, 3 of which I specifically remember. 2 with different girls sitting on Trump's lap, topless, and then a third with a telltale stain on the front of Trump's pants, with 4 or 5 girls pointing at this, topless girls pointing at him and laughing. And I urged Epstein
And there you go. And there you go. This is what Epstein had.
I said, these, you should release these pictures. I mean, if for no other reason, I mean, and Epstein was already in trouble and already a figure of um, which people were, he was already demonized. I said, maybe this will even help you. You can be on the side of right here. And I remember Epstein said, again, chilling at the time, he said, I may be a pervert, but I'm not crazy. And then he said, Trump is a man without any scruples. Chill went up my back then. And I think this brings us to August 10th, 2019, in that jail cell. And obviously.
And don't forget that video where it was a 2010 deposition when they asked, like, have you and Trump ever socialized with underage girls? And he was all like, I plead the fifth. Now, naturally, we can't take somebody pleading the fifth or using their rights to not speak on a certain subject. We can't say that means they're guilty or something. But knowing that he did not want to mention Trump's name or even just say, no, we never did. Like, a simple no would be no, right? Especially if I had a friend or somebody asked me if this person was socializing with underage, I'll be like, no. Like, I wouldn't say, oh, let me plead the fifth. So again, this tells us a lot.
All of the questions about what happened that morning are involved with why this story keeps going. And the question, I think that the largest question hovers over that is what did Donald Trump know about what happened that night? And I think in all of the Epstein files, that is the singular and pivotal question we need answered.
Right. And as we also know, the Wall Street Journal released that Trump was told by Pam Bondi that he was in the files. And this is the reason why they want to redact a lot of that stuff and take Trump's name out the files. Why do you need to remove his name? Or if he did nothing wrong, why are you trying to remove his name? And you guys can play the game of, oh, well, maybe he was just listed by association, but he wasn't exactly a part of the scheme. And no. These people were best friends for 2 decades. And mind you, while everything was going on with Jeffrey Epstein, the years that him and Trump were cool, this is when everything had went down. So again, there's no way that you can throw all these other politicians and powerful people in the mix and not throw Trump's name in the mix. And especially when Trump, the current president, is moving so suspicious and so funny, and he's telling us, what do you care about it? Who cares? He's even turned on his own party over this. So yeah, where there's smoke, there's definitely fire. But I believe this is why he wanted Jeffrey Epstein dead. But anyway, you guys, let me know in the chat what you guys think. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. All of this is crazy. Like I said, all the information that we want to know, it's not going to come from our government. It's going to come from us doing the research and finding different things, different articles, different videos, and putting the information together. Because our government, they ain't looking out for us like that. They don't really care. You know, the party that's supposed to care about victims and stuff like that, they don't. Especially when they're the ones victimizing the people. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate y'all, but we out of here. Deuces there.